Greetings everyone. So it is kind of drizzly out today, and rather than playing outside, I decided we're gonna play inside today. So I'm gonna get started on doing the plumbing vents. I kind of want to get all the plumbing vents in the walls and up through the attic before we run the electrical, because it never fails, even though I'm probably going to be the electrician on this job. It's a lot easier to run a wire around a pipe than run a pipe around a wire. So pro tip right there, if you are building a house, have your plumbers, your HVAC guys, if they don't need power set up or whatever when you're building, have those contractors come in first. Being a sheet metal guy, I absolutely hated being the last one in. For whatever reason, they always called us in last, and anytime I needed to run a duct through, like under a floor, like between first and second floor, and I needed to run a duct through a corridor, it never fails. The electrician runs their wire right through the floor joists, between the floors, and I couldn't get a duct through there, or they'd have to come back out and move it. So anyway, pro tip there. So let's get started on the plumbing vents. One of the things that I'm doing on this house with the venting for the plumbing system, I'm bringing all of my vents into two different stacks that will go through the roof. The reason I'm doing that is I'm putting on a metal roof, and there are 15 plumbing vents that would have needed to go up the wall and out through the roof. And I don't want 15 holes in my metal roof. And when you put up a plumbing vent through a metal roof, they typically have you put this rubber boot, and there's probably 30 screws that go around that rubber boot, and I just didn't want to have 15 of those on my roof. I want my metal roof to last until I'm gone, and at least. And so I didn't want all those holes in my roof. So what I ended up doing was I made a false chimney on this side of the house, which is kind of the main part of the house, and then the other chimney on the other side of the house is where the fireplace chimney will go up. And I'm gonna pipe all the piping on the in-law side of the house, in-law unit side, up into that same chimney chase as the fireplace chimney, and have that plumbing vent go out the top of that. And then on this side of the house, I'll have the plumbing vent go up, as well as the HVAC vent will also go out the same false chimney that I have over here. So then I only have basically two holes, if you want to call it. I mean, they're big, but they'll all be flashed properly, and it won't involve a rubber boot with 30 screws going around it. So let's get started on the venting, and I'll show you how we're going to pull all that together. I'll get started with this vent here, and that vent is doing, it's a vent for the toilet connection and the shower drain that's under here. So the two of those were combined under the house into one vent. So let me get a measurement off one of these studs to find out what the center of the hole needs to be drilled, and we'll get that drilled in the top through the top plates. Five 3/4 to the center. All right, so I brought it over the distance to the center of the pipe, which was 5 3/4, and then centering it in the double plate, half of 3 1/2 is 1 3/4. So I've got myself a little plus mark there, and I'm going to drill down from here. So I am using a hole saw that is just slightly bigger than 2-inch ABS. I believe this is a 2.5 inch bit, so it just gives me a little clearance. The 2-inch ABS is 2 3/8 thick. And you're probably asking, Scott, why are you running such large vent pipe when you could probably run 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches? Well, when you run horizontal venting pipes in the attic, you need to upsize your vents. So I'm basically running 2-inch vents out of everything, and then after when I get the first 2 connections, I'll keep them going to a 2-inch, and then when I get my third vent, I'm upsizing to a 3-inch, and the 3-inch will pick up the rest of the vents in that section, and I have 2 different sections on each end of the house that come together into one stack. So I'll end up having 2 3-inch runs come in to a 4-inch run that's going to go up and out of the house. And then of course you're going to ask, well, why are you running such a big vent up out the top of the house? Well, we are in snow country, excuse me, and there is a chance of freezing temperatures here. So one of the things that could happen is the air in your vent, if it's frozen outside for enough days in a row, it will start building up ice in that vent. And so having the bigger vent will either give it more time for if ice actually builds up before it will clog, or having the bigger vent, a little bit more air movement maybe, and it won't freeze up. So a couple of things that I found when I was doing research on the venting, when I was reading the plumbing code. So that's what we're going with this installation. Since this one is just a vent, I'm going to go ahead and cut off the test plug there, put a coupling in, and run my pipe up through the top plate. And I'll bring you back when I'm done with that. All right, so there is that vent. I'm going to put a 90-degree bend on the top, and we're going to run across this way because the chimney chase that I need to get to is over this direction. And we'll be tying in some other lines along the way, which I will show you when we get to that. All right, next we're going to do this vent, which is for the master bath tub. And we kind of ran into a little snafu because if I follow that up, it goes right through this truss right here. So we're going to put a couple 45s on it and bring it over, and we'll come up through the plate over on this side. And I'll show you what that looks like when we're done. All right, so this bathtub vent is going to 90 at the top. We're going to come out a 45-degree angle. Then we'll have a 45-degree bend, and we're going to come across, and we're going to go up into that 2-inch there. That's coming out of the side of that 3 for the riser going up towards the big 4-inch stack. And then these two vents will tie together with a 222Y and come across, and we'll tie it into the bottom. And once we get all that done, I'll bring you back and you can see what it looks like. All right, so here's the end of our run. At the bathtub vent, we came up, we 90'd at a 45-degree angle, came over, then we turned 45, we're gonna come across, and then we 45'd up into that 332 Y branch up there. And then this vent is the toilet and shower. It's the end of that line run. Came up 90, came across, and then we have a 222Y, which is picking up the vent from the master bath sink, and then that continues over and goes in the bottom of that 3. So now we just have to go over to the laundry and half bath on that side and bring those pipes over here, and they will connect to a 433, which is up above this roof. It's up in that part of the attic up there. So the last portion of the plumbing sewer rough-in is to get this dual sink plumbed in the bathroom. Originally, when Matthew and I were doing all the piping, I didn't have that Y, or I guess it would technically be a T, for the dual sink. So I'm going to cut the vent. We went ahead and just ran the vent so we could get it all tied in above. But I'm going to go ahead and cut a section of the vent out so that T will fit in. I got clean outs on each side, and then the drains will 90 out for the dual sinks in the master bath. So let me get started cutting that vent and drilling some holes. Let me go get the reamer so I can ream the pipe. All right, let's drill out the openings. Whew. That is not going to leave much of a 2x4 if I use this one. I had sized it for the female side just in case I had to push that in, but I think I will extend it out just past and go with the smaller hole saw because it's only going to leave a little sliver of that wall. And if I ever build a house again, probably not, but if you build a house, any wall that you're going to have plumbing in, have that design for a 2x6 wall. It will make your life so much easier. I'm gonna go get something to cover up this line here while I drill going this way. Just grab one of those little test plugs that you put in for the pressure test. And then I'll just kind of set that in there. That'll keep some of that sawdust out. That one actually I'm gonna have to make bigger. Forgot about that. Can we get that on there? It's gonna be tight. I'll probably have to chew this one out a little bit so this fitting can go slightly into that one. So since I have to make that hole bigger, what I did was I got the bigger hole saw, but I put in the core that I pulled out of that. So I can use that to stabilize the bit in the center of the hole and get it started. All right, here we go. That worked nicely. Now, the fitting will go into the wall stud. All right, now I'll cut the little short pieces so I can tie in the two cleanouts and the elbows that are going to stub out for the sinks. Ooh. I forgot to drill that out bigger. All right, let's try this one again. So when I did the pressure test initially on the piping that was under the house, I didn't put any Teflon paste on the clean out caps, and almost every single one of them leaked. So I won't make that mistake again. All right, not too tight, just enough. I'll do the other one.